What is up, and welcome into the Easy Smoke and the GM podcast. I'm your host, Ezra McCann. I'm joined, as always, by my outstanding co-host. He's a Chicago Public League legend. He's a Simeon legend. He's a Grambling State legend. He played second base for the Tigers back in the day. He was all swag as Brandon Williams, a.k.a. Coach Smoke. And we've got our NFL draft analyst. He's in season. You can catch all this work at NBC Sports Chicago. You can see him on Football Night in Chicago. You've had three appearances in the last couple of weeks now on there,
Yeah,
right?
man. Yeah, something like that. Be on this next Tuesday.
Yeah, the Under Center podcast. He's everywhere. He is Glenn Morgan, our GM. Gentlemen, what's going on? How you guys doing?
Man, I was doing good till I went bowling today.
Had a rough one?
Man, bro. I cost us the last game for sure, bro. Couldn't pick up a spare 4 out of the last 5 frame. Easy spares. Couldn't do it. Don't know why. We lost by 12. That one's on me. We got swept, stretched down the playoffs. The worst time to get swept. Oh man, it was bad, bro. It was bad.
You didn't pull a Bill Cosby. Or wait, I should say wait.
Oh God, I hope not.
I don't know. Right. Wait, I don't know if we can talk about Bill nowadays. But no, Cliff Huxtable. He was on a bowling team and he couldn't crack 75. All we need you to do is put up 75 points, and you can't do that. You weren't doing that, were you?
No, not that bad. But hey, I'll put it this way: in our league, because we got a 5-man team, but we got 6 guys on our team, so low man sits out. I was as bad as I bowled. I was the high man, just to give you an idea of how bad we did as a team.
So Brandon wasn't there today.
No, Brandon was there. Brandon has to sit out next week. That's how bad it turned out. Yeah, dude, it was a bad. I don't know what happened, man. We went from sugar to shit, man.
Wait, Brandon's rolled a 300 before, right?
Brandon has
close to it.
No, he's got a 300.
Brandon
Brandon has like the top 5 average in the league, bro.
And so what's going on?
It was a bad day to everybody, bro. It was a bad. Nobody broke 600. You're serious 600. That means you average 200. Nobody broke 600. Actually, nobody on the lanes broke 600. So
y'all need to have a team meeting and figure out what's going on here.
Bad teams have team meeting. That's what Ozzy again says. Bad teams have team meeting. We're not there yet. We're not there yet.
Well, hey, this was Combine weekend. This week out in Indianapolis, and I guess the story of the entire offseason really has been the Bears and what they're going to do with the number 1 pick. Obviously, what Ryan Poles is going to do. From all that we've heard, I know you've heard, Glenn. The Bears are probably going to take Caleb Williams with the first pick.
Yeah.
It will be a sad day for this podcast when Justin Fields is let go, but we gotta live with that. We gotta start to get over it and understand what's going on here.
What is going on? What is going on? I still don't understand it. I get it, but I don't understand it. That makes sense. Like I get what they're saying. I just don't understand why they're saying it.
I get Poles' plight here, right?
Yeah, right.
It's just, and we talked about this last week, that
CYA move.
If you keep Justin, and let's say Justin stays at the same level, and then Caleb Williams gets drafted somewhere else, whether it's Washington or New England, wherever it would be,
right.
And he turns into, I'm not gonna say Patrick Mahomes, because that's
a top 5 quarterback, a top 5, 7 quarterback.
Yeah. Then that's his ass. So I get that. Obviously, it can happen the other. Actually, it can happen the other way around too. But I think it's easier to take if you use the draft pick on Caleb Williams.
Easy to explain.
That's what yeah.
Everybody was jumping off the bridge, so I jumped off the bridge too.
Yeah. and everyone will understand, which we all know that's not going to be the case.
No, they're not gonna
Because
say
as
it.
soon as oh my God, you had Justin Fields here. Why didn't you keep
Oh,
him? You know that's going
oh,
to happen.
worse than that. It'll be like you had the first pick. You could have taken any one of those quarterbacks. How did
Right.
you not do your due diligence? How do you know? How could you not take Jaden Daniels? He had the best year last year.
Mhm.
He's blah 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 blah. How could you not take Dre May? Do you see what he's a prototypical quarter? It doesn't matter if Caleb isn't the person. Whatever decision you make, if it doesn't work for you, you're an idiot in this case because you have every opportunity to do whatever you need to do to make the right decision.
Oh my
And you
God.
had it back to back years.
The Bears had the number 1 pick and they missed on Bo Nix. Oh no.
Right.
That'll
That
be what they say.
that's what's going to happen. Yeah.
That'll
Yeah.
be
So
what they say.
They could
But
have traded down 3 times and got Bo Nix at 12.
mhm.
what were they
Everybody was
thinking?
saying trade. What were they thinking? Everybody saying trade down. They had number 1 pick back to back years. They don't know what to do with it. The Bears are a horrible organization. Blah blah blah. Which, I get, which is why, again, and the last time I'm gonna probably say it, well, maybe not the last time, but one of the few last times I'm gonna say it. Trading down gives you a lot more armor to bulletproof yourself against different things working against you. It just does. I mean, Caleb, you better be right on Caleb. You better be right because it don't even matter what your other draft picks are because whatever else you use the 9 pick for, even if you trade down and get additional picks, whatever free agents you get, it's not going to be enough to insulate you if the quarterback doesn't work out because you're foisting most of your success on the fact that you're going to get a it guy at quarterback
Mhm. Yep.
as opposed to you trading down with a player that you're developing that you already know who he is, you already know how he moves in terms of how he vibes, and you have ways to be able to you got a lot. People are working. It's like everyone's going to be putting their best foot forward because they they like Justin. They respect Justin. So no one's going to be short shrift when it comes to that. Justin still has a lot to prove. So it's not like he figured he's got anything made.
Mhm.
And you have an offensive coordinator who took a guy that no one knew was still in the league for the most part in Geno Smith and a guy who had way more NFL scar tissue than Justin has. And that dude was only the comeback player of the year, but he was comeback player of the year with like good statistics and leading the team to a playoff that nobody thought would go to the playoffs because Russell Wilson was gone.
Yep.
And a person who was kind of considered a curmudgeon to some degree in NFL standards because of his attitude. So a guy who had been humble but had scar tissue, you revitalize or help him revitalize his career. Justin's only 24. He ain't got that much scar tissue. And you're trending up as it is, on top of the fact that all the picks you get gives you an opportunity to make your team better, quicker, faster, longer, and stronger against the rigors of the NFL. The NFL can be a very precarious league, and we've seen that. It's things happen. You can't control injuries. You're going to have things happen naturally through attrition where there are going to be players that you're not going to be able to resign. They're going to leave. You have players, and hopefully it doesn't happen, but sometimes things happen outside of football, be it, bad decisions they make or the people around them having to deal with it. People retire early, whatever the case might be, you have an opportunity to have enough draft capital to draft enough people to where you can better buoy yourself against the choppy waters that may happen that come at you in the NFL. They always happen. On top of the fact that it gives you fiscal flexibility. I just there's so many reasons, and I'm not making it up. It's not like I'm pro Justin. I'm like, dude, at this point, I'm like, polls, dude, you can really be in a great situation. And with Caleb, it even if he is a good player, that doesn't matter if you're doing good. And you can't tell me the Bears are more guaranteed to go to the playoffs this year with a rookie quarterback than they would be with Justin. So you can actually win sooner better. Justin can improve. I don't believe a 24-year-old, his talent is already done. It's not like he's a bad dude. He's not seeing ghosts. So I just that's the part. That's why I get apoplectic. I'm like, I don't understand why you don't think you can win with this young man?
I
Why you're so convinced that you can't win with this young man?
well, and that's the questions that I'm having. Like, is Poles convinced in Caleb, or is he convinced on if he pass on Caleb, that's determining his future? That's what I'm not so sure about. Like,
I think if I can right quick to throw into your thought process, throw the money part in. So if if it's the 50 million that he's going to have to pay in 2 years, not just yet, but in 2 years, how much that factors into the two things you just said?
that's that's BS in my eyes.
I agree
Like
because there
that
are ways
that's
you could, but that's the thing. That's the thing that keeps coming up. Yeah, don't we hear that a lot?
yeah, we do, but it's like a, a part of me in this situation, like I said last week, I felt Holes was moving in a way that it didn't appear that the media was like, and this was in the past, didn't
Hmm.
appear that the media had any influence on his decision making. Currently, I'm not sure. Like it, because to me, if you like Caleb, if you truly like him, why not just say it? Why not just say it? Because if you truly believe in Caleb, there's no deal out there that somebody can give to you for you to take it and say, no, I'm not going to take it. If you truly like him. So
I
to
think
me,
they're
I feel
trying
like huh?
cake and eat it too. I think he's trying to get as much as he can for Justin. So that's why you don't say you like Caleb.
But you ain't getting nothing from Justin. You're not. You're not. Like, you're not. I mean, so it's baffling to me. It's like you just it just doesn't seem to me that he's as sold on Caleb as far as the guy more than he's sold on if I pass on Caleb and this go wrong, that's my ass. Like that's why I'm bothered in this whole situation. Like, dude, you're not hired in that position to make your decisions based off things like that. You're hired in that position to make the best decisions you feel for the team, for the roster, for the organization. And if you personally feel that building a roster through the draft, as you told us, was the way to success, then you will do that. Like, and I feel like right now he's caught in that spiral of, well, if I pass on him, this is the effect. Instead of just doing what he feel is best. I don't feel that's what he's doing right now.
Well,
I
Okay.
don't.
it's still early.
Is it?
I'm gonna tell you why. One of the indictments that we had on the last regime was when they went looking for a quarterback. They fell in love too early with Trubisky. They somehow, well, obviously that
Yeah, thank you.
they fell in love with Trubisky. They met with Mahomes, but it wasn't serious, and they never met with Deshaun Watson,
The
right?
national championship winner.
Right.
But now we've seen a guy win
So
a
they
national
so they did
championship
listen
that don't
listen,
that don't
but they
pass and he
didn't.
moving up.
But the reason that Ryan Pace, once that information came out, was looked at as an idiot, was because he didn't do his due diligence on figuring out what was about all these quarterbacks that were in that draft, right?
Yeah.
So now, what's it, 6 years later, you're in the same boat here. You got to at least take it out to the pro day so we see everything, and he gets a chance to meet with all these guys,
So
right?
he do that.
Yeah.
Because for all year up until this week, it's been Caleb Williams is
But he hasn't said he
can't
hasn't he hasn't said
no no.
that though.
So why is it Caleb then? So why is everyone saying it's Caleb?
Because he's been the number one quarterback since pretty much his first when he took over for, Oklahoma, winning the Heisman in 2022, and so he came in as a prohibitive number one. He hasn't, and people are explaining away why he didn't have as good a year, I think the reasons are valid. You know, I've seen Dan Marino have a bad year after he was highly touted, and then he fell in the draft to mid round when Pittsburgh picked him. I mean that happened. I've seen quarterbacks when the talent leaves and goes away that they've got to bring in young freshman sophomore dudes who haven't played, and their numbers dip a little bit, and he's like, oh, what's wrong? You're not as good as you used to be. Like, dude, everything changed. So outside of that, Caleb, it's explainable why Caleb's numbers are a little bit low.
But I'm not even speaking on the numbers though. I'm just trying to understand for since college football ended,
Yeah.
and we
I hear
knew
what you're saying.
the Bears was getting the number one pick. It has been this dude is generational talent. He's the best prospect since Andrew Luck. Some has even went as far as saying since Peyton Manning. Now this week we're hearing Jaden Daniels is better. Now we're hearing Drake May is better. Like, so how is for the Bears? It's Caleb. If now all of a sudden all these different like
I'll tell you,
that's where I'm like it's weird.
I'll tell you why. Because what we're hearing is from pundits and national media types. What Poles is listening to are coaches and scouts and people who are actually doing the work to vet these players. He's not listening to the pundits, and all the pundits do is regurgitate what they hear somebody else say. And then you have people who have a bit of a platform. I'm not picking on anybody, but just using Merrill Hodge as an example. There's always going to be somebody that's going to be Oppo, just to be Oppo. Or even if it's not just be Oppo, that's maybe even that's how they truly feel. But because they're Oppo, they stand out. Oh, wait, somebody else is saying something different? Why? And then they listen to him. Same thing with Peter King. Again, not picking on anybody, but Peter King's like, well, he ain't saying anything any different than a lot of other people said, but because he said it, it gets more
It has
recognition.
some
And so
weight. Yeah.
it got a lot of weight. So
Yeah.
now, then other people want to say, well, if Peter King's saying it, maybe I might want to listen to it. And then you get someone like Dan Orlovsky, this past week. I'm looking at it, and the pass rate out of being blitzed, the best player was Jaden Daniels by
And
far, man coverage.
and see, and that's the thing that bothers me with guys like Dan. And I like Dan, but like 2 weeks ago, he was saying he was watching Caleb Williams tape and he's never seen anything better. I'm sure if I scroll through his Twitter, I will find that where he said, I have never seen anything better than this kid. And then now all of a sudden he's singing Jaden Daniels praises. I'm like, this stuff just y'all know I get frustrated with the draft process when it comes to these quarterbacks. And I'm on the record of saying if it's not Fields, it better be Caleb. And I stand behind that. But it just seems like right now to me, I just feel like, and quite frankly, we don't I don't really know what they gonna do. That's why when people ask me, I'm like, I'm 50-50. They gonna keep him or they drafting Caleb? Because I really don't know. But just outside looking in from what you hear, it just to me seems like they're more moving in a way of fear of passing up on that pick at number one versus truly being in love with that pick at number one. And that for me is a problem. If they were to come out and tell me they truly are in love with Caleb Williams at number one, I would not have any issue with it.
So
But
I'm sorry, go ahead.
but I just think that that's not the case for them. I don't think they're fully in love with Caleb Williams. I just think they're afraid of the fallback or the pushback,
Backlash. Yeah.
the backlash if they decide not to take that pick and trade down and things don't go like they would hope.
So you're saying it's not like the Bengals when they were like, no, we ain't come out the
Yeah,
portal at all. It's not standard. It's not tight like that. That's what you're saying.
to me it don't seem like it.
You know, I think somebody asked me today, like what I thought of Caleb, which was funny. Cause I'm thinking like, man, like you think you're the first person to ask me what I think of Caleb. But then I started thinking about it. I'm like, all right, what do I think of Caleb? And I think part of the process with Caleb is not as much about his on the field per se. I think they're pretty much sold on what he can do on the field. I think the vetting and the lack of overall commitment is like, what kind of person are we going to end up dealing with? So you have the stuff with his father prior to, you have Caleb just himself. And so when the person asked me the question, I was writing back to him. I'm like, when you have Caleb, he's an exceptional talent. I do, however, and like you, as you were saying something, I'm thinking like, you talking about Orlovsky? I'm like, has my evaluation on Caleb changed? I'm like, no, my evaluation on his football play hasn't changed. My evaluation has been evolving because of you're learning more and more about the person. And I think that's where the Bears are. They're trying to find more and more about the person. And when I answered old boy's a question about Caleb, I'm like, he's an exceptional talent, but he's narcissistic. And that doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing, but he's in love with playing out of structure. That's part of his game right now. That's it. Think of Brett Favre. Brett Favre was wild like that, and it made Holmgren go crazy. But you have to, in order, if you're going to draft Caleb, you have to have a strong coach who knows what he's doing, because Caleb is such an intelligent and precocious athlete that when you deal with creative geniuses, a lot of times they're temperamental. And it's not because, they're childish. They're temperamental. And it's like, for you to be able to reach them, they got to be able to respect what you're saying to them. But you got to be strong. You can't let them have their way with you. Once they know they got their way with you, you're not gonna be able to reach them. So you got to be really careful when you have creative geniuses, because they can be a wonder to you, but then they can also be, hard to effing deal with. And I think that's what they're trying to figure out. That's the process I think they're going through right now. They're dealing with, and then you can just listen to Caleb, this whole combine thing. He knows, he's very self-aware. The kid is extremely self-aware. They say, oh, he's arrogant. I'm like, yeah, he's self-aware. He knows. The question about 32 teams will need to have my medical stuff. And that's part of his, people telling him, but he's also intelligent enough that he can speak on it. He's extremely self-aware. He knows how good he is and can be. So if you're gonna tell him stuff, if you don't respect how you're telling him, you're not gonna be able to reach that kid. And so that's what the Bears have to figure out, who this young man is, who they're dealing with. The football player, I think they're cool on. The person who is the football player, I think they're still trying. They may have to end up being cool on in the opposite way. They may be cooling on that or warming up to it. And this is that process right now. I don't know if that's just observation, but I don't think I'm too far off with that.
So I guess they had their 20-minute meeting with
That ain't
him.
shit. Yeah, even he said it was like, yeah, 10-minute meeting. Yeah. They need that. I think what seems.
That's what I was going to ask, how long is it going to take for them to get that feel for who he is?
I think all teams get, was it like 30 meetings they get that they can have with players? I think it's going to take, a day, spending a day, half the day, one of those kind of those visits. It's going to be one of those where they really get to know. And to your point is, that's not for a little bit. I think that's not until maybe after the pro day happens or something. It's not like this week or next week. I think it's a little bit down the line. I don't know how much time they have, but it may or maybe it may begin right after the combine. I'm not certain, but they need one of those kind of deals where they actually spend a day or the bulk of the day with them to really get a feel for them. And even then, it's like, okay, so if they don't do Caleb, then what do they do?
Mm-hmm.
Is Jaden Daniels an option? Is Drake May an option? I mean, I hear people saying, trade down to Washington and then, draft Drake May, or trade down again, maybe, and get Jaden Daniels and, whatever. So you talk about being ballsy. That's you have to really be ballsy. And in my case, I'm like, you might as well just keep Fields and do all that trading down. Then if that's the case, because you already know he has a leg up because he's already been in the league and he's already got a rapport with the receiver. Blah blah blah.
Hey, I got a tweet from Dan Orlovsky from February 24th.
Hmm.
He says, shocking to see how average / inept USC perimeter talent was last year. Caleb Williams' tape is really high-end quarterback play. Offense is very college football centric with heavy RPO use and one-on-one concepts often, but he's dialed in and he's a great pocket and has great pocket feel.
That's not. That's yeah. I mean, some superlatives in there, but I don't think that's far off. Yeah, I mean, basically, the motherfucker knows how to scramble long enough to pass the ball to somebody once they finally can get open after about 5 seconds.
Yeah,
And he does. He moves around. He moves around. He moves around like a little bit between Mahomes and Russell Wilson to me.
It's just interesting on these on TV how you can tell how different people evaluate tape.
Yeah. Well, you could always find something, right? You
But
find a tape that
honestly,
makes you
but
always.
a lot of them are just fans or being told what to say. I mean, Emmanuel Acho said that's the greatest college quarterback he's ever seen.
What?
Dude
I
is a
know.
pure. Dude is a pure. I don't even watch the show anymore. I just happened to see a
Yeah.
clip of that. Like, dude is a pure idiot.
Yes.
Pure idiot.
that times I don't spend any time watching that show, man.
None
Because
of them
they
are
not
really good with any now. And
no.
I Joy is sullying herself by being around them.
And I get much respect because they all played in the league, but just horrible takes on
They're
most
they're the
things.
Horrible
they're
takes,
the
yes.
they're the show that make people like Skip Bayless and Stephen A. and Rob Parker and all those people who the athletes be like, you didn't play. That's the show that keep them people in business. That is the show to prove the analysts right.
Not all
Like,
athletes should be talking.
yeah,
No, no, no. But more power to them.
It's a hard watch, man. Yeah, I don't watch the show, but like you said, like there'll be snippets, and I say, man, do I really want to listen to what they're saying? And I can't, I'm hard pressed. I can't ever get through. Like if it's like an 11-minute clip, I can't ever get through all 11 minutes, dude.
No, no.
It's like these guys. I'm like, come on, like really? Like your takes are horrible. And Shady's the worst of the three of them, or four of them. He's the worst. The worst. Yeah. I don't know, man. It's there are so many people out there. If you go on Twitter and stuff or X or whatever, so many people who I guess they're Justin fans, or maybe they're just anti Caleb because of the personality. They don't kind of like the personality vibe. But there's so many people out there that still believe that Poles is just playing everybody. That is gonna be some gotcha thing. And I'm like, man, I don't what Cole Poles does not strike me as a gotcha kind of guy. He's pretty much pretty he dresses pretty conservatively, he talks pretty conservatively. I mean, he's pretty much matter of fact. I don't know if he's this,
I mean,
really Machiavellian gamester that they're talking about.
based on his short history here, last year they had the number one pick, and he said, we want to take care of this as soon as possible. And I think within a week of him saying that, they made the deal with Carolina
Right.
to trade down in last year's draft. So yeah, you're right. He's pretty much shoot straight from the hip. He's not trying to fool anybody out there. You know, I think he even said last year that that Justin was the quarterback,
Yep.
and yeah,
And you,
didn't stray away from that. This year, he hasn't said that. Pretty much all he said is that he wants to make sure that that they do right by Justin, which
Sounds like a breakup.
that
Not
tells
you,
me,
it's me.
yes, exactly. So yeah, he seems like he's a straight shooter all the way. So he's not trying to fool us. I don't think it's gonna be like the movie Draft Day,
Hey man,
No.
just no. I
where
tell
they
you
end up
one
staying
thing.
with the quarterback.
I tell you one thing though. If by the slimmest chance he do fool the people, I can't wait to see Danny Parkinson's goofy face ass and goddamn
What
David Kaplan. Boy, I would love to see their faces if he was to fleece everybody.
I got a question.
That's the only reason.
What's Danny Parker's gonna do with that Caleb Williams jersey that he already
Hey,
purchased?
that's why I would. Matter of fact, what would even be better because of Danny Parkinson looking so goofy in that jersey, if they traded down and took a Jaden Daniels and Drake May. Now I'll hate it. I'll hate it, but I would love to see his reaction because he just looks so damn goofy in that jersey. Like, shut up, dude.
Hey, did anybody talk to Tyler Scott about his jersey being on Danny Parkinson's back?
And with another name on it.
That's right.
Yeah,
He is 13.
yeah, he's 13. I mean, how does it's like it was disrespectful. Everyone said, man, he disrespected Justin. I'm like, what about Tyler
What the
Scott? That's
Tyler
his
Scott?
number.
Yeah. Maybe
Chicago media is a motherfucker.
maybe Tyler Scott, well, maybe Caleb Williams gives him a deal that he can't refuse.
Yeah, probably it's probably what happened, but still, it's just like, come on, man. I mean, dude, let put number 3 on the back or something. Just or just don't have a, I don't know.
Actually, no, he can't. Three is retired.
Okay,
Just don't
well,
damn do it.
Who is
right.
it?
How about that?
I think 3 is Bronco Nagurski.
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's just it's weird, man. It's weird because, like you just said earlier, is it's like polls came in saying build through the draft, and I don't know how there's any other way that you can. I mean, this is a prime opportunity. And the crazy thing, we said it before, whoever you trade that number 1 pick to, chances are, especially if it's Washington, chances are they're not going to be good next year. So you're probably going to get easily another top 10 pick, arguably another top 5 pick.
Well,
And
I'm
you do
saying
the
that
same
it
thing
just
over again.
and,
Like,
and and
dude,
you can potentially keep doing that
yes.
for
And
a
the other thing
while.
is, you don't know you don't know how any of these quarterbacks are going to do. You really don't. You look at George or not George. Look at Justin's draft class, and again, we said last week, ain't nobody killing in that draft. Nobody's
And that was
killing.
supposed to have been the most
One of them
heralded
highly decorated. Yeah, yeah.
quarterback classes ever.
You look at Lamar's draft class. It's Josh Allen, Lamar. That's it. One guy's out the league. The other guy's on his third team as a backup to the guy who was the last pick in the draft 2 years ago. And the other guy's on his fourth team trying to get another contract. Pickett, he was the only first rounder. And it's like, come on. I mean, like, that's like almost 11 players. And only CJ Stroud is the only one that you're pumped about. Seriously.
Hell, I mean, granted, it was on his own doing with Deshaun Watson, but for Holmes draft.
Well, I mean, right, yeah, right. And only that, but people had to trade up. It wasn't like, if they didn't trade up, they'd have been picked later. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? I mean, you know what the Chiefs moved from the 20s to 10. I forget where Houston moved up to get to 12. I mean, the Bears knucklehead ass was already at 3. I want to get started with them. But it's like, and no one saw them. I remember Hub Arkish was saying there's no really good first rounder in this draft class. I'm talking about the 2017 with Trubisky, Mahomes, and Watson. None of these guys are really first rounders. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I
So,
remember him
but
he was very low on Deshaun Watson, I remember.
very low, very low. So, and Deshaun was the first one to really ball out of the three of them.
Mm-hmm.
Then he got hurt. Because if he didn't get hurt, he's probably rookie of the year. So you don't, you don't know. And that makes it even more like, okay. so, so yeah, man, it's weird. Now, what did y'all think of Caleb as far as the combine? Did you come away thinking that this kid, because the way he spoke, like, all right, this is the type of energy that the Bears need, or were you ambivalent towards him, or were you more like, man, y'all don't get out of here, dude, take that somewhere else?
First off, I don't think I'd ever heard Caleb Williams speak before.
Hmm. Okay, so this is your first introduction to Caleb. So
Yeah,
I,
actually talking. Uh Higher voice than I expected.
Mm.
Not that there's anything
okay.
wrong with that. I'm just,
Well,
I
you say
wasn't
you don't like people with a higher voice. I mean,
I'm
I was
well,
boxing my whole career.
it wasn't Tyson high, but just the thought that I had with it. But he said all the right things. Um, you know, he said that he
Attitudinally, you're okay with like how he rubbed the NFL people that with his medicals and that not
you know
necessarily
what?
throwing and all those things.
I had no issue with that because honestly, no one out there has said that he's going to drop below 5, right? Really, really 3. So why do the San Francisco 49ers or the Kansas City Chiefs or what's another playoff team?
Detroit Lions.
Detroit Lions. Yeah. Why do they need Caleb Williams' medical records? I have no issue with that. I get it. What's the point? He said, hey, if the Bears want it or Washington or and I'm sure teams that have a possibility of trading up. So somebody like maybe New York
Atlanta.
or Atlanta. Yeah, yeah. I think it makes sense. I had no
I
issue with
agree.
that.
Yeah, I agree.
No issue at all with that. But he said, he would be excited to play here. He would be excited to play, wherever. He's just happy that, that he's getting to the league and that he wants to be great. So everything he said was spot on. So I had no issue. I'm not, in this whole situation, obviously, you know, I've been one that's been, pro Justin and I want to see Justin in a Bears uniform next year. My issues aren't with Caleb Williams.
Right.
It's just how the process is played out in the media really is what my issue is. So no, Caleb, if it happens and Justin gets traded and Caleb gets drafted, I'm gonna be open minded with that, and we'll be
Yeah.
fine until game 1 when he throws 4 interceptions, and then we might have some issues. But through training camp, I'll be fine. I'll be fine. So he did everything he did. I think he did correctly up to this point.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm not even paying attention to it. I could care less. Look, I could care less. I mean, either that's the pick or it ain't. I care less what he talked to me. Honestly, it just sounded like a bunch of coach speak. Like you said, saying the right things. Like it is what it is. Like not much personality there, which I know that's not the case with him. So I'm not really buying into anything he's saying, either positively or negatively. Though it's just okay. He's speaking, cool. Like Ed said, like I said, for me, it's either keeping Justin or drafting Caleb. I'm not interested in hearing no other names. So, I mean, it is what it is. They draft him. Y'all know my expectation. If we don't win 10 games, we're fucked.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's my view of it. It sucks for him that he has to come into that situation as a rookie, but hey, that's what everybody been saying he was. That's what the message, in my opinion, will be given to the fans, that the quarterback was the problem. That's the message I'm going to take. I could care less what anybody says. Even though I said earlier, I think they're making this pick based off of perception more so than what they really want. But if they make that decision, to me, that tells me Justin wasn't the guy. This guy's going to do what we needed Justin to do, and I'm expecting
Right.
him to do it year one. So it is what it
Right.
is.
Right.
I will say also, I found it interesting that I actually watched a little bit of the quarterbacks as well. I forgot about that. Caleb was actually on the field during the workouts. He stuck around for that part. Let me ask you guys this: Marvin Harrison Jr. did his I think he did his weigh in, got his height and all that. I think he did meetings with teams, and he was supposed to meet the media, but he took off and no showed for his media appearance, and he was gone for the rest of the weekend. Well, how do you think that looks in your
You know what I
opinion?
think, man? I think it's a different age, man. New kids, man. I think the NFL is going to have to really start understanding that the leverage, the heavy-handed leverage you've always had, it doesn't exist anymore. And these kids could
Yeah,
care less.
yeah.
I think, and this is wishful thoughts. I think he like, you know what, media F y'all, because I should be going to the Bears and not Caleb Williams, but y'all pushing this Caleb Williams narrative. So
He technically in most of, I don't know, Glenn, you can speak to this. In most of the rankings out there, he's the number
he's
one.
number one.
Right.
He's the number one player in the draft.
Yeah,
But
quarterbacks
but
are
but but he knows the talk has been about the quarterback. Only time people has talked about him has been if the Bears trade down. That's literally been it, or if Arizona's at 4. That's it. I haven't heard much else when it came to Marvin Harrison. It's been about the quarterbacks because they know the Bears don't necessarily need one, but you know the two behind them do.
right.
So it's, but since the Bears is at 1, it's been they're taking a quarterback.
Right.
If they do trade down, they're taking Marvin Harrison. So it's,
I, I don't think
I
where
know
he's going.
I said wishful thoughts.
Uh,
That's
I, I chalk it up to. I mean, his dad was not really a very, talkative person, not a loquacious guy. I think he takes after his dad. I really
What
don't think his.
what I said, I had never heard Caleb Williams talk.
I never
I
heard
don't think
Marvin
I've
talk.
heard Marvin Harrison Sr. talk. He's a Hall of Famer.
Right. Yeah, he didn't.
Did he
He didn't
make a
even talk. He
speech at the Hall
didn't
of
even make
Fame?
a speech. No, he
Oh
had someone else.
wow.
No, I don't
Oh
know.
shoot.
I'm joking. I'm
Oh
joking. I'm
wow.
joking.
I'm about to
I'm
say,
joking.
wow. Look, we might
No,
well stop talking about this. That says a lot. If he didn't even talk at the Hall of Fame,
I'm
he had
joking.
to.
He
He
had to,
had
but I
to.
don't. But they don't play his. They don't play his speech back like they play
it
other
ain't
people's speeches
I've,
memorable.
ne-
back.
I've never heard him. Never heard him talk.
He must have said 10 words and got up out of there.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm out. Oh, but I think Marvin is, as much as a receiver position at times can be a diva position, as much as he has been a highly touted player since, who knows when, I think he's a pretty keep to himself, private kind of person. I think they displayed that. I think these kids nowadays, especially, I mean, sometimes you're getting kids who are sons of, former like all pro Hall of Fame dudes. It's like when you have a certain amount of, how can I say it? Not entitlement, but self-assuredness. The NFL has a way of, in the past, of how much does football mean to you? You need football in your life. Like you need our money. And
Uh-huh.
these kids are like,
Nah.
no, I don't. I'm good. I'm good. I don't need your money, and I ain't got to do just because you say that's how it's always been done. Like, yeah, no. And these kids nowadays, there's a certain audacity that they have that I don't think is necessarily a wrong thing. It's like, look, man, stop trying to be overlords about every damn thing. Stop trying to tell me because I didn't talk to you, that's a negative against me. Yeah, whatever. You still need my talents, right? Okay, cool. End of the day, I'm still going top 5. Thank you. I'm out. Peace. Especially when it comes to the media. The media is like, oh, you're not speaking to us? I don't know. That says a red flag. Who's
That
you?
brings up a point. I heard Josina Anderson was on with Mark Grody on The Score, and she brought up they were talking about this very point where kids weren't um, either working out at the combine or doing the media availabilities.
Mhm,
And she said that it should be she thought that it should be mandatory for everyone that is invited to the combine
mhm.
that they have to do the meeting. It's like, well, no,
Why?
why?
Like
Yeah,
that's what
and
I
she
hate about
said,
the
and she said
media.
selfishly because she said that
Make her
the
job
media
easier.
is a part exactly, and that she said that the media is a part of that NFL world, and that it's harder and harder nowadays for all these reporters to figure out stories at the combine. And it's like, well,
Well,
that's
that's your
not their
job.
problem. Yeah,
That's on you.
yeah,
Yeah, that's a you
yeah,
problem.
yeah. So, and that's how most of the media feels about that. And that,
Well, here's the other thing to add on to that. Guess who can do my own self promotion? Me.
yeah,
You don't necessarily need the
nowadays,
media
absolutely,
to promote you. You can cut your own
absolutely.
video. You can, you if you you can do all these things. And you can represent yourself without an agent. How many times? That's the thing too. See, I'll say this, and again, I'm like you, as I'm not against Caleb. I'm not, I'm not against any player or anything, especially at this juncture. They haven't done anything, that requires, me to feel one way or the other. Um, but that's the thing. If there's anything, I don't say raise my hackles, but maybe thinking like, you know what, man, get up off that plantation bullshit. I'm just gonna put it out there because you don't have an agent,
Yeah,
so somehow, you seem that that's a negative. Like, oh, you need an agent. Like, wait, why do I need to have somebody control my
no,
life when I have control of my life and what I want to do? But here's the crazy thing that's
What?
funny.
Oh.
As soon as you say, they don't have an agent, they'd be the first ones complaining about having to deal with your agent.
yeah,
Mhm. But this goes back to being one of them media darlings. It's not a big talk of the town when it comes to Caleb. Him not having an agent. That's
Oh
not
yeah,
something. I mean, it's talk, but it ain't like Lamar not having an agent talk. It was very negative with Lamar not having an
Or
agent.
Roquan. Remember Roquan?
You're not hearing much of that. Like it's spoke of, but it's not really deterring anything. The media darling. They like him. He paints his nails. Can't wait for him to. Never
Here's it,
mind.
especially, and this is where the NFL comes in. In a salary cap league, right? And in the last CBA, actually the last two CBAs, um, the draft is basically slotted.
right,
Your salary is based on what slot you fall in.
right.
Really, all you need, if you were smart, would be
Lawyer.
an attorney just to look over the contract.
Hmm.
Everything else is pretty much basic, so you can save yourself
There's no
3 to
negotiation.
4% on a
Right.
on your deal, and just have an attorney look at it at an hourly rate.
Yeah. Yeah. There's probably maybe a thing here and there that you might want to negotiate, not so much fiscally, but I don't know, something here or there that you want, and that happens here and there, but it's not; those aren't deal breaker things. It's just players trying to get a little more leverage about what they may be required of them, or what they may want to or not want to do. But like you said, the money thing is pretty much slotted,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
so yeah, what's the deal? And not only that, but even after your rookie contract, unlike other professional sports, the NFL, your position kind of mandates where you're going to be paid to some degree. So if you're a receiver, all right, you may be able to get, 18 to 25 mil a year. If you're a
Yeah.
quarterback, it's going to be starting at 40, 45 mil. If you're a running back, you're screwed, and it's probably not getting any higher than 14 million, no matter how good you are.
Let's talk about that. That's something. You bring up a good point there, the running back position. If you're a kid coming up, why would you want to be a running back at this point?
I think we
I
discussed that
wouldn't.
before. Yeah.
I wouldn't.
But
I
it's
mean,
even worse. It's even worse now. It's getting worse. It's almost to a point where the running back is going to become obsolete.
well, what's going to have to happen
You
is
you going
you're going to have to. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say you're gonna start finding more people trying to be like a Debo Samuel hybrid,
Mhm.
and you list me as a
And listen, I'm a wide
receiver.
receiver.
Yep.
Give me that 80s number.
Or you have to have the Marshall Faulk skill set more so. Like I'm a pass catching, like you said, I'm a pass catching running back, not just a between the tackles running back. So I should be paid a little bit more. You might have to get that distinction to give you an extra few million. So instead of paying me like you would say someone like Derrick Henry, where he may be making, 12, 13, 14 million, he don't catch the ball like I do. He doesn't stretch the field like I do. He can't run routes like I do. That's there another like extra 5 million, maybe, and that's the Debo Samuel aspect you're saying. So, but the problem is, I don't know what the hybrid name would be. Receiving back, the R instead of running back, you're receiving back. But see, sometimes you don't want to get slotted there because then they're not saying you're a full running back. So like Christian McCaffrey, guys like him, Saquon Barkley, Josh Jacobs, those guys should be making like 18, 20 mil. I mean, they really do because they're the big reason why the offense works.
Yeah.
And they carry a load. And if nothing else, their career is much more finite because of the abuse they do take, per se. So I don't know. I don't know how you figure that out. But speaking of running backs, this free agent running back class is the best ever. There's so much talent.
And
Well, you
yet
got
no one
Derrick
wants to pay
Henry.
Derrick Henry. The Titans have already said they're not going to franchise him. So it's basically
No,
letting him go to free
right.
agency. Saquon Barkley's out there.
Josh Jacobs, DeAndre Swift, um, Eckler, Austin Eckler. I do. It's crazy. You look at the running backs that are out there. So again, the Bears have an opportunity to get like with the money that they have. Again, another reason if you trade down, you're not spending extra money in free agency. You can sign a hellified running back, and you could sign like the best free safety out there with all the draft picks you have. Let's go.
Yeah.
Hey, let's move on. Let's have a little fun here. Chris Mad Dog Russo brought up his in his top five this past week, the top five toughest sports to play. Right. And
Bowling.
no, it's not bowling. Not bowling. No, it is tough. I will give you that.
It is.
I will give you that. His top 10, or excuse me, his top five. At five, he had football. All right. Four, he had curling, which is, by the way, one of my favorite sports. I love Olympic time when curling is on. One of my
Oh,
favorites.
that's tough. Bowling's tougher than curling. Stop it.
Okay. No. There's no ice in bowling.
It's just cold. Hey, man, please. The bowling
They gotta
lane.
walk. You gotta walk on ice,
Dude, the lane switches and changes. You got to
and
switch your
you gotta
balls.
sweep. Sweeping
You
is
got to pick,
tough, man.
you got to pick up spare.
You ever
Yeah,
swept?
I swept my whole life growing
No,
up.
you ain't sweep like that, man.
Mm.
You ain't
You
sweep
live in
like
my
that,
you ain't live in my house. I don't know nothing
man.
sweeping.
Nah, y'all. I don't know. I don't know. Three. He had tennis,
Stop
two
it.
golf, and then one baseball.
Okay. I'll take out tennis to put in racquetball. That's harder than tennis. That's coming at different angles. You got a smaller racket and a smaller ball. and it's moving a lot faster than a tennis ball. And we're talking at competitive levels. That mofo is hard.
Yeah.
He probably
It's
didn't even
harder than
think about
tennis.
rack and ball. He probably didn't even think about it.
Well, if he brought up curling, he had to.
I mean,
That's
you gonna
that's
go
as
curling.
obscure as you can get. Um, I'll give you racquetball maybe. Tennis though, tennis is tough, man. Tennis is
Like
tough.
I told you guys off air, I'm the least accomplished athletically between the three of us. And I can hit the tennis ball and play tennis because you have a large racket that gives you a large margin for error, and you
No,
have
but
space to run.
But
but
see,
you can't account for how fast that ball is coming.
no.
Yes, you can.
But this is why what Glenn is saying is why, like, he's making a great point. He's making a great point. That's why I don't think football should even be on the list
No,
at all.
I agree.
And a lot of people are going to get offended by this, and I could care less. And I've told football players this all the time that tried to tell me football is harder than baseball. Don't tell me something is hard because it's a tougher game, because it's
Physical.
more of a gladiator sport, because of its physicality. There's nothing hard about handing somebody a ball and telling them to run. There's nothing hard about that.
But
No,
there
no, 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 no,
is
no, 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 no. Let's not go into the technicalities of it.
I,
Let's not go into the technicalities of it.
that's not all though.
No, I know that. I'm saying let's not go into the technicalities of it.
You're
It's
talking about
just,
skill, but there's
just
complexities when it comes to plays. But you're talking
Yeah.
about skill, right?
exactly.
Okay. But there
Of
is the
course, now,
trenches.
yes, I get that. I get that. I get it. But okay, yeah, there's the trenches. But I can go up and try to block somebody. Now, will I be successful? I probably won't. Because if I try to block you, as you're much bigger than me. So yeah, I'm not gonna be successful trying to block you, but I can go about it the right way. I'm just gonna get out physical. I'm just gonna get out physical. That's not me not knowing how to play the game though. I just physically can't do it. But it don't matter how athletic you are. Put a bat in your hand if you ain't never swum one before. You're gonna look a damn fool. And I know you're not gonna hit the ball. Put a glove in your hand and you've never caught a baseball before. You're probably gonna flinch because you don't know how to
Yeah.
properly go for the ball and catch it. Like
Pitching.
it pitching. If you never truly threw a baseball before, you're gonna look like Stephen A. throwing the ball in the dirt or 50 Cent. It's those things. So I get what Glenn is saying. Like he like playing tennis is like playing ping pong.
No, it's not.
No. I'm not
No,
saying I'm not, but he's saying you got a
no,
bigger racket, big
no.
ball. Like if we just standing on the other side and we just hitting to each other, I think we can have a nice
I
back and forth. Now,
Let me
once we
throw.
start getting
no,
competitive,
no. I got a story. I got a tennis story. All right. My sister played competitively in college,
see,
right?
that's the thing. You went out there with somebody that can play competitively.
And so
We
I'm a decent
talking
athlete, you
we
know.
talking recreational.
I was never great at any one sport. I was really good at football. You put me out on the basketball court, I'm not going to embarrass myself. You can put me out there against guys. I'm not going to embarrass myself, right? Baseball, it depends. I was able to play at the high school level in baseball. All right.
What was your bowling game like? I ain't hear you talk about
My
that.
my bowling game is not great at all. I'm not even gonna get into that. But tennis, I went out. My sister was playing. I said, you know, I come out and play with you. Man, we got out there, man, and she was running me all over the court. And she basically was like, oh,
But you're at a different level.
she was just bored
But that's what I'm
with
saying.
me.
You're at a different
You can
level.
do it at
I'm
the
just
same
saying.
level.
She plays it competitively.
I'm just saying that was
That's
the
like,
biggest lesson I ever learned.
but that's like me going to play, and I think I'm pretty good at table tennis. But that's like me going to play Olympic champion or something. Somebody who really does this competitively. I'll never hit the ball.
I've never been that humbled before
Let me
in a sport.
let me throw a caveat in here. I think what we're trying to determine here, what is difficult to be able to do.
Okay.
So when it comes to football, is it difficult to take a handoff and run? No.
No.
There's going to be complications because the other person's tackling you, but is it
Right.
difficult to do? Like, is it going to take you a long time to? Now, I understand blocking schemes and everything like that, and be able to
Get
see a
through
whole vision.
holes and all that.
But
Mhm.
is it difficult to run? No,
But
that's
you
why
have
we didn't
to
say track.
but you have to go into the mental of it as well, though.
Not saying everybody has this thing. We're talking top five. We're not just saying that, it's like the worst, it's at the lowest ebb. It's just saying top five. Like, is it difficult to do? Like, learning how to catch a football, I can be as awkward as all get out, but I could probably still catch the football. Just not playing, not
With a
saying that
helmet
you could.
on?
That adds the complexities to it, no doubt. But what we're saying is
I
it
still don't understand the physics of that. How you can turn your head with
I
a
did it as a
big
kid.
shell on.
Yeah, I did as a kid. I would have any equipment on, but I had my one helmet that my brothers gave me, and I would run outside to play every time, and I'd be running with my head like this, but tracking the ball and catching it. It's like, can you catch a baseball with a glove? Sure. If someone's throwing it to you from first base to you, the first baseman, can you get it out the dirt? That takes a little bit more
It's
skill.
tough. Yes, that is tough.
Right. Swinging at a baseball, you start as a kid, it's like, okay, I'm up there,
Very
I'm not
tough.
at, right. I'm not gonna say I'm an athlete, but I've been athletic. And so I get up there and to try and swing my eye-hand coordination from my best friend to tell you, he's like, dude, you suck. Your eye-hand coordination for small ball sports is horrible. Basketball, volleyball, bowling, soccer, no problem. Football, no problem. Like, eye-hand coordination is fine. Small ball sports, that's just difficult. And that's just trying to hit the motherfucker. It's just a straight fastball, let alone off-speed pitch, the fastball that's got movement on it, a slider, anything like that.
That's
And
why
then
I
there's
say baseball is two.
right.
So
I
what's one?
agree.
What's one? You said it was one.
Well, Mad Dog, did
One
you finish? Mad Dog
oh,
said baseball, right?
Mad Dog said baseball was one.
Right.
He said golf was two.
I would agree.
I think golf is one.
I think to be
Because you're
consistent.
I'm saying you're hitting a small ball that isn't moving, right? Just sits there.
That's why it's two.
And you're trying to
That's why
hit
it's
it,
two.
no, and you're trying to hit it to a place that you want it to go. It's damn near impossible.
It's not impossible.
It is.
I've seen you play golf. It's not impossible.
It
It's
is.
difficult.
It's extremely difficult.
It's definitely difficult, but
It's extremely difficult.
Look,
man,
again,
That's why
that's
there
at
aren't
least
that many professional golfers out there. All right, even professional golfers have terrible days. Look at Tiger.
dude, baseball players are hitting 200 and they're getting
see,
multi-million contracts. They're hitting
I
220.
think the main thing, and like the reason I'm so high, I'm laying so hard on football right now because Dan Orlowski said that's the number one hardest sport to play, and I know he's only saying that because of the
It's a sport.
Well,
physicality of the
it's
sport,
his sport,
and
and
it's his sport,
he ran out of the end zone one time, so
right?
out of his own end zone. So yeah, of
Right.
course he's gonna say that.
I get it. When I say the quarterback position is the toughest position to play in sports and all that, which
I would agree with that.
I can't argue against that. I can't argue against that because you're deciphering a lot of things. You got a bunch of people running at you, but that doesn't mean it's hard to play quarterback. Most
Mm,
no. Again. I'm taking out the aspect of in the game aspect.
Well, that's part of quarterbacking, though.
No, I'm just saying, like, it's hard to play quarterback, yes, in a game. It's not hard to throw a football like a quarterback, is what I'm saying.
No, it's not that easy, bro.
No,
I know
No.
it's probably not.
it's
It's
not
probably
that
not hard for
easy.
you because you have a baseball background, and so you know how to throw a ball.
Some people
Everybody
can't
can't do
football,
that.
bro.
Okay, so I digress there. That might be the case.
Yeah, they have no. Their spirals are mallard ducks at best, and then they start having the arm strength to do it and the coordination to do it.
One of
No.
one of the funnest slash dumbest arguments I've ever had with a person, and this was a basketball guy, and maybe he'll listen to this episode and he'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But this was at my old job. We were on a staff retreat in Milwaukee. We went to Milwaukee Brewers game, and ball was hit center field, deep center field, and the fielder runs it down, catches it, boom, nice play.
Mm-hmm.
He says, "Man, that ain't that hard. It's harder to dunk a basketball than to do that." I said, "You've got to be the biggest idiot in the world. If you're tall enough, you can dunk a basketball. I don't care how athletic you are. If you have never been on a baseball field and that ball is hit your way like that in center field, you're not going to know what to do. You're not going to know what to do. You're not going to know which way to open up and run to get that ball. You're first off, you're not even going to move in time to even have a chance to get the ball because you don't know the game. You don't even know how to respond when a ball is hit. So like to say he like, but you can't dunk a basketball and you can't do what he just did. So yes, I can't dunk a basketball because I'm not my physical attributes don't allow me to. If I wasn't 5'5" and I was 5'9", I probably could because I'm athletic enough, in my opinion, that I could get up and dunk the basketball. But if I was 6'8", I don't have to be athletic at all.
I know
Just
a guy that's
stand
6'7" that can't dunk.
Yeah, I do. I know some people that tall too that can't dunk. Crazy thing, one of my best friends, he actually hooped at Grambling, and he was 6'8". Yeah,
I couldn't dunk.
Could barely dunk. It's weird to me because he could
How's
hoop.
that possible?
He could hoop, but could barely. He could.
Well,
dunk,
I get the fact that he can't dunk, but the fact that he was able to get to play on the Division I level,
and he was good. That's what was crazy.
interesting.
That's what was crazy. But like,
So,
it just was like, dude, you don't understand how much of a talent that is to be able to run down that fly ball like he did. Catch it.
No, that's tough. That's tough.
Like,
so what's your top five, man?
Yeah, I was
for me, my top five. I have not thought about this. Honestly, I haven't thought about this. So, of course, baseball is number one for me.
Okay.
Sitting discussing with you all, I definitely would go golf too.
Bowling 3.
I'm going to say bowling 3. Like,
I'm joking, really?
No, I'm not even gonna lie to you. Like, you know what? I take that back.
Damn, I should keep quiet.
I take that back. I'm thinking of myself because I don't really know how to spin the ball, but I do still have success because probably comes from my baseball background. I am still able to release the ball on a straight line more often than not without it curving to the side because I have a good idea with angles and stuff and release point. So I take that back. Them two.
Racquetball. I think y'all just count racquetball big time.
It's just one you don't really think about. That's why it's.
Because you think about curling all the time, huh?
I'm definitely not going to mention curling.
Oh, I
to
love
me,
curling,
hockey,
man.
3. Yes.
Hockey.
Yes.
Hockey is in that conversation.
Hockey.
Ice skating. Wait. Ice skating is extremely tough.
Yes. I tried it before, and it's very hard.
I went. This before I got with my wife. I was this young lady took me ice skating one time, And so we got out on the ice, and I'm scooting along. I can't skate,
Mm.
so I'm staying close to the boards. And all of a sudden, this kid had to been about 6, 7 years old. He's coming right at me and loses his balance, right? And so I see the kid, and his arms are flailing. I'm like, oh shit! If this kid just grazes me, I'm going down. So I was like, shit. Let me brace myself. I brace myself. I'm ready for this kid to hit me. All of a sudden, the kid catches his balance. He does one of those skid stops. Ice flies everywhere. He stopped right in front of me and then took off the other way in like one motion. It was incredible.
He said it was incredible.
And I said, "Get me off this ice. I am not doing this anymore." What they do in hockey and even figure skating. I had a new after that day, I had a newfound respect for figure skating and for hockey, just based on what they can do on that ice. So yeah, hockey and I might put figure skating out there as in that top 5. That's hard to do.
Yeah.
So what was your 5 again, V?
But so hockey was 3.
Mhm.
Go gymnastics 4.
Yeah, yeah. I don't have an argument with that.
5. I don't know. I gotta really think about the different sports. Like football is not a top 5 hardest sport to play to me. It's a top 5 hard competitive sport to play. So that's why I say I kind of look at this stuff a little different than most. Like basketball, skill wise, is tougher to play than football.
Mm-hmm.
Like, maybe I'll go basketball 5. Not easy to get up and start dribbling a basketball, dog.
No, or shoot it.
Or shoot it.
Glenn, what
And
you
I'm
got?
talking about. All right. I was going back and forth between gymnastics in my head.
Gymnastics, that's a good one, man.
Yeah, but then I'm like, who really wants to do gymnastics?
I used to.
But it's still tough though.
It's tough. I was being facetious. But it's it's so compartmentalized. Not all the gymnasts do all the exercises. You know what I'm saying? Some guys don't do the rings.
So what?
I
You
guess.
still
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying. It's my top 5. Y'all can clip off me.
No, you're right. You're right. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna go 5. I'm gonna go basketball because I've seen some gymnasts who are really coordinated, can't shoot a basketball. And I've seen some guys who are athletic enough that they can at least tumble. And that's a part of gymnastics. So I'm gonna go basketball 5. Uh 4, I'm going to go racquetball, man, because I've played tennis and I've tried it. My best friend was a professional racquetball player. And I'm not saying playing against him, just getting in there just to hit it by myself. I was like, man, fuck this. I don't know where the ball's going. I can't hit it, can't see it. And some of that's my inability with small ball sports, but it does move around a lot, man. I think you can understand the game is easy, but playing it, that's hard, man. So I'm
I don't
gonna go
even I don't even
racquetball.
understand. I don't even understand the game.
Yeah, I don't know all the rules, but I don't think there's very many. I think it's just a matter of, you hitting the ball, but it's a skill and it's where you hit it. It's knowing the angles. It's strategy. It's a lot of things, and it's like that. And the higher you go up level wise, the more difficult it gets. I mean, there's times where I'm like, how did I even see the ball? And not to mention, them are dangerous too. You got to wear them goggles. You get hit with that. You playing racquetball without them goggles, you can put your eye out. But anyway, so what I said, that's a basketball was 5.
Mm-hmm.
Racquetball 4.
Racquetball
Basketball,
4.
racquetball, hockey, golf, baseball.
Okay. I've got at 5. Now, wait. I'm gonna preface this by saying I'm the football player, but I agree with Smoke. You can't put football in the top 5. I think if you have any speck of athletic ability, I think you can figure out football.
Well, there's a
All right.
position for you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, you can figure it out somewhere. So I
And
started
that's
with that.
another aspect of football. Like there's a position for you at some point, which goes into like my baseball point. It don't matter how athletic you are. That doesn't mean it's a position for you on that baseball field.
So I'm gonna go soccer number one.
Oh shit.
As
Excuse
far
me,
as
no, excuse me. Not one. That's five. It's five.
oh,
I'm sorry, I said one. Soccer at five.
I
Just
play
based on the
soccer.
fact that, if
Hey,
you've ever talked to me, I despise the
hey.
sport. I think it's a communist sport.
It's a communist sport.
I don't like the sport at all, but I respect the hell out of it though, because you got to be in great shape to do it.
It's not hard.
Have you seen those guys
I
dribble a soccer
played
ball?
soccer. I played soccer.
Nah. That's tough to do, man.
It's harder for me to dribble. Well, no, it's harder to dribble a soccer ball than a basketball.
Really,
Yeah.
nah.
No, it's harder to dribble a soccer ball than a
Absolutely,
basketball.
yeah.
But it's not harder than some of these other things because pretty much that's all you got to do. Like, you pass it, you kick it. I mean, like with basketball, you got to dribble, you got to shoot, you got to gauge where you're shooting, distance,
And you have to
accuracy,
dribble.
and you have to dribble.
If you don't, you'll get a penalty. So
You
yeah,
know, it,
that's true.
it's positioning. I mean, then there's that's if you're down low, it's how to get your shot off if somebody's on you. Soccer, you're kicking the ball, man.
No, I
Dude,
think it's tough.
no, seriously. At the end of the day, you cannot know anything about soccer, and you can run out there and kick the ball to the other dude.
Yeah,
Seriously.
but at a high level
No, we didn't say high level. It's hardest sport. The sport is a sport at every level.
though. No, I'm going.
Everybody don't fall to bed playing pro sports, but the
Okay,
sports at
let's look at
every level.
it this way.
Like the regular person.
Ez. Let's look at it this way. Ez. So this might not work in my favor because you already talked about my son at 2 years old doing what he was doing.
Mm-hmm.
But he ain't an average 2-year-old.
Yeah, he's got some DNA in there. I understand.
You take a 2-year-old, you put a baseball bat out there,
Mm-hmm.
you put a basketball out there, you put a football out there, and you put a soccer ball out there. Which one
You have the easiest first success.
will they have the first success in?
Soccer. Hands down.
Yeah.
It will be soccer.
That don't mean
even if they're not even doing it right.
Wait. Okay, so they can anybody can kick the ball, but there are nuances
and you're playing soccer
in that sport that
there's
most people cannot do.
There's nuances of checkers.
But this is my top five. So soccer is at
Okay.
5. All right. I'm gonna go basketball at 4 because I've seen some really good athletes get on the basketball court and just play just terribly.
Terrible.
Yeah. So I'm gonna put basketball at 4, hockey at 3. Because hockey, I mean, have you? I've gone. If you ever go to a hockey game, it's a great experience just to see how fast that sport is, man.
Soccer on ice,
man. It's
that's making it a whole different element.
Yeah, that man. I had the chance one time. I went to a Blackhawks game, and we got hooked up with the seats that are literally right on the ice between. I think that's between the penalty boxes. The United Center has these two. It's literally like you have like 2 metal chairs, like folding chairs, in between the penalty boxes. So you're right on the ice, and just to see how fast the game is at ground level or at ice level is unbelievable. So I put hockey at 3. I already said baseball is my 2 because that's the suck. Yeah, that's the second toughest sport I ever played was baseball. Um, Baseball will humble you, no doubt about it. I don't care what level you're playing, unless you've got elite skills like one Brandon Williams here. Um, it will humble you. I don't care if you play at little league, um, high school, college, professionally. At some point you're gonna have, like I said, unless you're Tony Gwynn, uh, you're gonna have some real failures playing that game of baseball. And then one is golf. I'm amazed by how I go out there and just the level of frustration that sport brings. Yet I keep coming back to play. It's unbelievable.
What's crazy to me when it comes to golf is how much people say how peaceful it is.
Yeah.
But I've stayed away from. I'm like, man, this shit looks hard.
It's incredibly hard.
Like, I'm too much of a competitor to not be peaceful, to be peaceful while I'm struggling in this game.
And the crazy part is you're never at the professional level. You are playing against other players.
Yeah.
But as novice amateurs that go out, we're just playing against ourselves. Really, it's you're trying to yeah. I'm not worried about how. In fact, if I'm going out with Glenn, I want Glenn to play well. You want to see the guys that are playing with you play well. You get excited when they make a nice shot.
That's true.
That's it.
But it's just that mental game, and like I said, the ball just sits on the ground, just doing nothing.
But sand traps is different.
Yeah,
you got hit. You got hit sand trap. You got to figure out the right club for the distance, and then there's different where it laid. There are things like trees might be in a way. Remember that one time I kept hitting the tree.
Well, I always hit trees because that's for whatever reason the ball is just attracted to. It's like a magnet on the trees.
There's wind. There's water hazards. The terrain changes. So yeah, it offers a lot of. You can play the same course and you get different results every time.
Yeah. I usually play South Shore. That's my home course. I've played there where I've had a really good round and shot in the low 40s, and then the next day I shoot a 60 there. It just the way it is. I don't know. So golf is my number one toughest sport out there. But I will continue to go because I love it. Y'all want to talk about Stephen A. and Whitlock? No, let's get out of here. No. That's going to do it for this week's edition of the Easy Smoke and the GM podcast. I want to thank everyone for listening. We greatly appreciate it. You can catch our podcast at Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify. No, I keep saying Stitcher. It's not Stitcher. Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, I don't know, YouTube, wherever you find your favorite podcast. I should know this by now. You can also catch us at hp53productions.com. There you'll find a link to our podcast and the Super Duper podcast hosted by Rob Griggs and yours truly. Yo, Glenn.
Yep.
Please take us out.
Hey, it's like we always say here on Easy Smoking the GM podcast. We ain't saying it right. We just know it's wrong if you trade Justin Fields.
Well, a couple more weeks to go. We'll catch you next week.